out just to show that covers sports sneakers and culture. And let's get straight into it. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, the Steelers and the Ravens was must-see TV. Throw the records out of the window. Win or go home. And the game was excellent. This is exactly what the NFL wanted. Like, right out the gate, Baltimore did what Baltimore does. Impose their will on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Derrick Henry busts out with a 45, 50-plus yard run. First play of the game. They call it back because of phantom block. And then, they control, the first half with time of possession. Good defense, surprisingly. And then Aaron Rodgers, they came back, had their little run to try to tie the game at the end of the first half, and they got stopped on fourth down. But as the home team, the Steelers is going to make it a run. They're going to make it interesting. And that's exactly what they did. In the second half, they end up taking the lead. They end up getting to Lamar, sacking them a lot. It seemed like they was in control of the game until this happened.
3rd and 4. Steelers bring 4. Highsmith is there. Jackson got away. Now reloads and throws to Flowers downfield. He's got it for a touchdown!
Now, Lamar Jackson made a play like that in the second half, but plays like this is why I was hoping the Ravens ain't make the playoffs as a Denver Broncos fan or Josh Allen. If I could have got the playoffs without Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes, I would be happy as a Denver Bronco fan or any other fan that's not a fan of those teams. I know the NFL wouldn't like it and the networks wouldn't like it, but Lamar shows that he's always dangerous. And once again, Pittsburgh brought in Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers things. And I'm so glad Aaron Rodgers is in the postseason, even though I live in Baltimore. It was just sad seeing Aaron Rodgers go out sad playing for the New York Jets, man. But Tomlin sets the standard. He always finds a way to get in the playoffs. Like, it went from Baltimore, we know we're gonna get in the playoffs, to now Baltimore is not in the playoffs at all. And the Steelers are in the playoffs. So the Steelers is barely known for squeaking in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin has these consecutive win streaks, barely getting in the playoffs, so scraping with way less. Top receiver is out. You know what I mean? You got an agent, Aaron Rodgers. Baltimore was supposed to win this game. And when you seen the plays that Lamar was making at the end, he did everything he was supposed to do. We paying you this big money for these moments. Last 55 seconds in the game, you got 3 timeouts to go down the field. You only need a field goal because Scobie missed the extra point, which that never happens, and you can win this game. 4th and 7, Lamar makes a hell of a throw and Likely makes a hell of a catch. And we all know Likely, he had his issues holding on to some balls that could have won the Ravens the game. We had one when they said, he didn't maintain the catch when he had 2 feet down and the guy knocked the ball out and they said it was an incomplete pass. Then we had the AFC Championship game, I think it was last year or the year before that in Baltimore when they said his toe was out. He caught the game-winning touchdown, but his toes was out. If his toe was like 2 inches shorter or his feet, Baltimore would have been in the Super Bowl. So now, after Lamar drives his team to kick the winning field goal, after the Likely play, they set it up where Derrick Henry runs the ball in the middle of the field. Their rookie kicker misses a chip shot wide right. It was an easy field goal, and he wasn't even close. When you miss a field goal from that close, you're not even close. It's not like you had a 60-yard field goal or a 58-yard field goal and you ain't have the distance, or it had the distance, but it was just veering. No, this guy wasn't even close. So you got a rookie in the clutch moment, which shouldn't have been a close clutch moment because it's the same distance as an extra point, and he misses a chip shot. This is another example of Lamar's teammates letting him down. And you don't see all these people in the media say Lamar Jackson loses another playoff game. Like they just didn't sit there and watch the whole game and Lamar make amazing plays that should have had Baltimore winning the game. Now I give the credit to the Steelers because, like I said, Mike Tomlin sets the standard. You're gonna play hard no matter what. It doesn't matter who's on the field. It's Mike Tomlin football. And now he is a veteran that's known for putting up MVP seasons, that's still hungry, that still wants to play at his age and still gets motivated to get up and win. Aaron Rodgers, man, it's sad because Aaron Rodgers is looking at, you know, it the same way. Okay, Scobie let me down, Mr. Extra point. So now instead of being 27-24, the Ravens can win it if they kick a field goal. And once again, it didn't happen. We seen Mark Andrews do this last year. Mark Andrews let Lamar down. I know he fumbled the ball against Buffalo. He dropped a few passes against Buffalo. But he could have redeemed himself by catching that 2-point conversion, and he drops it. So it's just been heartbreak for Baltimore this whole season. The whole season just been a mess, 1-4. And I feel like after 5 years, you had this window, John Harbaugh. I think it's time for John Harbaugh to go. Because now, like I said in last episode, and I've been saying this all year, first you couldn't get past the Chiefs. Now you couldn't get past the Buffalo Bills. Now you can't even beat the damn Steelers. And then you can't beat Philly, you can't beat Detroit. It's like 3 or 4 teams that's known playoff teams that you might face in the Super Bowl. You can't even beat them. So I feel like the John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson experiment is over. They need to be done. They need to tear it all apart. I'm hearing foolishness like they should trade Lamar. No, you get rid of the coach. You don't get rid of the franchise player. I mean, what sense would that make? You let Harbaugh rebuild for something that he can't. You know what I mean? You don't want to rebuild with Harbaugh. You want to rebuild or reload with another coach. And I think it's time to give Eric Bieniemy a chance. Eric Bieniemy needs another chance in this National Football League, man. He was the offensive coordinator for all those Super Bowl teams in Kansas City. So he had a shot. He was the offensive coordinator in Washington. And then for some reason, he couldn't get an NFL job. He had to go coach UCLA. I think he was an offensive coordinator there. He couldn't even get an offensive coordinator job there. But I just feel like Harbaugh is a pack. He got to go, man. Pack him up, man.
Do you want to see John remain the coach for next year?
That's you asked me about next year, Jameson. Like, I'm so caught up in what just happened tonight. I can't focus on that right now. I just told you. Like, he asked me, "Are you stunned?" I'm stunned right now. I'm still trying to process what's going on. Like, I know we lost, but what the that's all.
Now, my Broncos got the #1 seed in the AFC, and Seattle got the #1 seed in the NFC. But I like to talk about the Denver Broncos. Once again, it did not look good against Kansas City. It did not look good at all. And it didn't look good against the Chargers today or Sunday when we had to wrap it up for the home field advantage. And one thing is, I'm starting to not like Tony Romo. I like him and Jim Nantz on the calls for other games, but I can't stand Tony Romo for the games he called for us. Especially like the Kansas City game. He was glazing Patrick Mahomes so hard when you're supposed to be impartial. Now we get the Chargers, and we're beating the Chargers 10-3. And he says, well, the Chargers might have to go against Denver later on in the playoffs, so they're not trying to show them that much. We know that the Chargers are without Justin Herbert and they're playing a backup. But don't act like they have a chance with Trey Lance and try to say they're doing what Denver is actually doing. I think the Denver offense and Sean Payton wasn't trying to show the Chargers too much with Khalil Mack and Derwin James on the sideline and Justin Herbert on the sideline watching. No, the Denver Broncos was the one that's holding back. So I just don't like Tony Romo calling Denver games. And I know he's going to be calling Denver's game, his playoff game, 2 playoff games. Hopefully, if we win the divisional and we win the AFC Championship, Tony Romo is going to be calling that. And I hope he don't be glazing Josh Allen or glazing, the opposing quarterback like he does. Like when Patrick Mahomes was fighting for his playoff life against us, he was like, "Oh no, it's Patrick Mahomes. He always does this." I'm like, quit meat riding, bro. You're supposed to be impartial. You don't work for Kansas City's, play-by-play team or their local. You're not a local Kansas City beat writer. So how could you say the Chargers was not trying to show Denver too much? No, Denver wasn't trying to show them too much. That's why Bo Nix was throwing 2 yards every play and not going deep. Like the Denver Broncos was holding back against the Chargers, and that's why it was an ugly game. You think Sean Payton is going to unleash the hounds and show them everything we got with Khalil Mack on the sideline, Derwin James on the sideline, and Justin Herbert watching? No. So the offense didn't look impressive, but they still won the game. I don't care how bad our offense look. If you score 19 points and y'all only got 3, just like in 2015, it was ugly. Even the Super Bowl was ugly. We won 24-10. The AFC Championship, we put our points early and we end up beating the Patriots and Tom Brady. So Tony Romo got to chill out. Now on the other side, Seattle Seahawks. They went in San Francisco and won the ugly game against the 49ers. And I see the 49ers being one and done because I don't think they're going to go in Philadelphia and win in the cold weather. But what's up with Philadelphia? They had a chance to get a number 2 seed and play 2 home games. And I'm watching Red Zone. I'm watching the Denver game. And the Denver game is well in hand. And I turn to the Philly-Washington game. I don't see Jalen Hurts in the game. So you telling me you really not have Jalen Hurts go in the game and start your starters if it's going to get you 2 home games? Now, Detroit had home field advantage last year, but end up losing to, the Washington Commanders. They got upset. So that's how Philly got the home field advantage and won 2 home games and end up going to the Super Bowl because they had the Rams in the snow and they had the Commanders at home. So now I couldn't understand that. I don't know if Jalen Hurts was taken out the game or if he was hurt or they just sat their starters. I had no idea that the Bears was ahead of him in the number 2 seed. So the Bears end up losing to Detroit. But I guess before the game, Philly and Sirianni probably thought Detroit wasn't going to play anybody and the Bears was just going to win against Detroit. A fully healthy Detroit team, even if they're not fully healthy, if Detroit was playing all their starters, that's a hard out for Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, you don't rest your starters if you can get a chance to get 2 home games in the playoffs. If you're going for the 2 seed. And I don't know who the hell the Commanders quarterback was. It wasn't Marcus Mariota. It was the number 14 guy that the Philadelphia fans laughed at when he threw the pick when Mariota got hurt. The Philadelphia fans was acting like he's a joke. Now Philadelphia might have to go on the road twice if they even get past San Francisco. And I like to say this. I thought the Patriots and the Steelers were the weakest teams in this playoffs. The Patriots had a hella easy schedule. I think they only beat like 2 starting quarterbacks. All the other quarterbacks was like backups they beat this year. But in Foxborough, you asking Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers to go into a windy, cold Foxborough and pull out an upset against the New England Patriots. I don't care how easy that schedule is. The LA Chargers line is terrible. It's terrible. They on their like 3rd string, so I think Mike Vrabel will scheme them up and dial up some blitzes and Herbert could be in trouble. Now the Houston Texans, they got a great defense, but they're going into, Pittsburgh with all them fans with the terrible tail. It's going to be cold weather that Aaron Rodgers can play in. I think that it's going to be like 35 with 13-degree winds. And I love the Texans defense. Them in Denver, probably you got the best defense in the league. But Houston gets more turnovers than Denver. Denver gets more sacks. But I would tell you this. The reason I like the Steelers against the Houston Texans, because, C.J. Stroud will let you back in the game. Like when it was a chance for, the Chargers to win the division, if they would have beat Houston and would have beat us the next week, they could have won the division and home field. Houston was winning handily, but C.J. Stroud kept letting Los Angeles back in the game with 3 and outs. C.J. Stroud cannot play in the cold. He cannot play in the cold. So I feel like Pittsburgh and New England has a chance to advance. And I would love to play Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers with our pass rush. He'll be a sitting duck. I don't even mind, playing Drake May with our pass rush. But who I am scared of is Trevor Lawrence and, Josh Allen. The reason I'm scared of Trevor Lawrence because Leo Cohen called a hell of a game when they beat us, when they snapped our 11-game win streak. He called a hell of a game. And our defensive coordinator, Van Joseph, couldn't do nothing. He could not adjust to it because Leo Cohen made adjustments. So I'm scared of Jacksonville and Buffalo. Even though Buffalo has to play Jacksonville, and we'll probably play the winner of Pittsburgh and we'll play the winner of Pittsburgh and Houston. Or we'll play the winner, Pittsburgh and Houston, or we'll play the winner. If the Los Angeles Chargers beat the Patriots, we'll play the Chargers. But most likely, I'm thinking the Los Angeles Chargers is going to lose to New England, even though I said New England and Pittsburgh are the weakest. So I think we're going to play the lower seed. But the NFC, I can't predict it. There's some good teams in the NFC. The NFC is wide open. Don't sleep on Philadelphia, though. They got a loaded offense. And Jalen Hurts can make the plays with that talent. So, the Rams, you got skilled players all over the place. You got the best receiving duo in the league with Puka Nacua, and if Devontae Adams is healthy, you got Matt Stafford, a strong arm, a mastermind coach, and Sean McVay. And then you got Seattle, the resurgence of Sam Darnold, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And one thing, Cooper Kupp hasn't been worth a squirt of piss this year, fantasy-wise and stat-wise, but you got to watch out for him. If him and Sam Darnold get on the track with those 2 physical running backs, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and that defense, Seattle could be hard to beat. So I think the NFC teams are better than the AFC teams, if you ask me, because you got the usual suspects in the NFC plus some new people, but you got a hell of new people. You don't got Lamar and Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. So the AFC does look like a weaker field. You got 2 newcomers, Drake May and Bo Nix. They both, have the number 10. They're both second-year guys, and they're both number 1 and 2, the best teams in the AFC. So those are the 2 teams on top of the AFC with the 2 youngest quarterbacks. So this NFL playoffs is going to be interesting. But as a Denver fan, I'm so happy Lamar and Mahomes is out. I hope Trevor Lawrence can put out Josh Allen. I'd rather face Trevor Lawrence than Josh Allen. And then after that, I'm not worried about any other quarterbacks as a Denver Bronco fan. I'm not worried about Drake May, Aaron Rodgers, C.J. Stroud, or, Trevor Lawrence. I'm with the revenge. So let's see, man. This playoffs is going to be fun. This weekend is going to be fun, starting on, Thursday with the college football playoffs all the way into Sunday, and I might think it's a Monday night game. The weekend's starting early for me. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I ain't going nowhere.
Here's Lance, knocked out of his hands, and the Broncos are on it. Benito is the one who got the strip. It looked like Roach on top of the football.
Stay healthy, bro. Yes, sir.
No one cares about college sports no more. And this started off with the, college basketball, March Madness, and everything. I mean, it's on the app now. People aren't staying in college more than 2 years. They're leaving after 1 year. They're leaving after 2 years. So we just don't get the same feel for college sports anymore. But what I never thought I would say is people don't care about college football anymore. I remember back in the day, college football meant everything. You couldn't even lose a game in the season. You lose one game during the season and it's over. Now the college football playoff is bumping heads with the NFL playoff. And the sad thing about that is, your sport is not important if it's not on regular television. Every single college football playoff game is on ESPN. You got to pay to see it. So you can't even go to work or go to the gym and talk to your peers about college football because they don't know what the hell happened. They don't know what the hell you're talking about because it's not on regular TV. It's an ESPN app. And it's sad because the Georgia and Ole Miss game was awesome. Now, I don't know who got the best conference in football out of the SEC or the Big Ten. The Big Ten had the last two national champions, Ohio State and Michigan. And from the pounding Indiana gave Alabama, it looks like they're going to have the next three national champions. But I would tell you this. The SEC got the most entertaining games. Well, you're watching Alabama and Georgia, whether you're watching Texas A&M versus another team that's not in their country conference, Notre Dame, or you're watching Georgia and Ole Miss. And it's sad that no one cares about college football because the Ole Miss and Georgia story goes way further back than what happened this Friday. Like that game was so good. The first game, the fifth year Trinidad Chambliss had Georgia on its heels. In Georgia was beating them soundly, but they left the door open for a few plays and a few minutes of each quarter, and Georgia ended up running away with it. And everybody was like, this Georgia team can win the national championship. They're so physical. They end up avenging their loss to Alabama by beating them soundly in the SEC championship. Well, this time, Georgia had the lead, but Mississippi came back and, took it over and was able to come down and score a game-winning field goal. And I don't know if Chambliss is going to the NFL as a fifth-year senior, or if he has any eligibility left because of COVID or whatever. But Lacey is an NFL running back. He's only 19 years old. He'll probably stay. So he might be a Heisman candidate next year. He's only 19, and I'm already seeing, Bijan Robinson vibes, Jahmyr Gibbs vibes. That guy is awesome. And the kids in Mississippi was going through so much with Lane Kiffin, leaving in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season, to go to LSU for more NIL money. And they wasn't sure if the offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss Jr., and the other coaches was going to stay through that playoff run, or they was just going to leave. But no, Charlie Weiss Jr. stayed and called a wonderful game. And it's sad that the media was trying to make it about Lane Kiffin. Like, no one on Instagram was talking about how great the game was. They was just talking about, oh, Lane Kiffin gets the $900,000 for the Ole Miss championship run. Who cares about Lane Kiffin? Bro, it's all about the kids. It seemed like the media and social media always want to focus on negativity or scandal instead of the kids that's playing football on the field. And I'm so glad these kids are getting millions now because they deserve it. Because college football, they made billions of dollars off the blood, sweat, and tears of these kids, and they would just give them free housing. It just wasn't worth it. I mean, I remember Artie Lang was like, yeah, a comedian, Artie Lang was like, college kids do get paid. They get paid in vagina when he was talking about college athletes. That was so funny. But all jokes aside, didn't that, once again, talking about a scandal. Oh, we don't know if these assistant coaches that's going with Lane Kiffin will continue to coach, Mississippi during their championship run. So they got a game against Miami. If they win that, they go to the national championship. So why wouldn't those coaches stay? Like I said, it's a few people that really love college football, like Phil Yates from ESPN, Mel Kiper. You got Joe Klatt, his YouTube show. Like they trying to keep college football alive, and even Joe Klatt said the same thing. They fumbled the ball in this college playoff because um, it's on regular TV. One network shouldn't show all the college football games. That's ridiculous. One they need. I loved it when it was only a 14 playoff. That was it. Now it's stretching into the NFL season. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be lit if you're a sports fan. But most people don't care about the college football games because they're going to be on ESPN. The NFL got football games on ABC, NBC, Peacock, ESPN on and ABC, even CBS. All networks are going to show an NFL playoff game. I don't know. Prime might even have one. So once again, college football and ESPN is just greedy, man. And one thing I want to talk about is Indiana Hoosiers. Man, my team is Oregon. I remember when they went to Eugene and Oregon was ranked higher than them. I was like, after watching that game, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman candidate, he ended up winning the Heisman. I say in the middle of the third quarter, I was like, yeah, Oregon about to lose. Even when Oregon got the pick six on Mendoza and they ended up tying it up 24-24, Fernando Mendoza drove down the field and answered and, went ahead by 7. And Indiana just stalked Alabama like they stole something. They didn't even look like they was on the same playing field. And I see why the Indiana Hoosiers beat Ohio State. I see why the Indiana Hoosiers are the ranked #1 team in America. Great running back, good defense. They also stack receiver, tight end. Fernando Mendoza got so many weapons. He got Cooper Jr., he got Surratt, he got the other big white boy in the slot. Indiana is going to be a problem. But just like Mississippi got their revenge on Georgia, I know that Oregon is looking for some payback. The thing I don't like about Dante Moore from Oregon, I think he should stay another year, is every time he's trying to run the ball to get the first down, whether he needs 4 yards, 5 yards, or 7 yards, he always comes up 1 yard short or an inch short. He never, you know, pushes through to get that first down. But Oregon is a much better team than there was with Dan Lanning. They're more physical. They can run the ball. They can play good defense. I want to see if Oregon can get that back, get their lick back against Indiana. And that's going to be crazy. Now, Oregon, they beat Texas Tech. And I cannot lie, I never seen a defense look good as Texas Tech in a 23-0 loss. Like for a team to lose 23-0, that Texas defense looked good. But Texas Tech just kept turning the ball over and giving Oregon chances. And Oregon, they won like 23-30 or nothing, but the game was a lot closer than it was indicated. The score indicated. That wasn't a 30-0 football game. Like towards the end of the game, Texas Tech was like, screw it, we just gonna do anything. Texas Tech's offense could not move the ball, but for the first 2 quarters, that Texas Tech defense was crazy. That defensive line was on Dante Moore's neck. So that was just an odd game. The Oregon Ducks versus Texas Tech. I never seen the team's defense look so good in a shutout. I think the score was 23-0 or 30-0. But that defense played well. So Texas Tech, they look like if those guys on defense can come back, they probably have some first rounders that's going to play on Sunday. I think Texas Tech is going to be a force to reckon with.
And what a moment now for Oregon. Davison into the end zone. His 13th red zone touchdown of the year. The big-body true freshman Jordan Davison.
Perfect 50-50 talent.
That's pretty good.
Black bursting free. Hoosiers punctuate an incredible performance. And we still got 14 minutes to go.
Just a